What the Patriots have done so well with their offense is taking advantage of new rules. Everything's a pass interference. And so Brady has said, let's just go deep and let's draw pass interference flags all game long. Even if we don't have wide receivers that scare you, we believe your defensive backs will make mistakes. Well, they got the Dolphins in a couple of those situations last night, but not enough. So that's where the Patriots offense can be had. And the offensive line of the Pats is not great. As you saw last night, they're not great. They're not the Dallas Cowboys. They're not the Tennessee Titans. They're not the Oakland Raiders. And granted, the Raiders have been a bad team this year. But in terms of units that are known to be some of the best offensive lines in football, the Patriots aren't that. Now, on the defensive side of things, Jay Cutler played out of his mind. That's as good as Jay Cutler may have ever played. Certainly all season rather. That's the best game Cutler has had. So it makes you wonder, where was that the whole year, Jay? Where was that the whole year, Dolphins? Why can you look that good on that night and look that bad the rest of the season? That's a question the Dolphins fans should be asking. But Cutler found space. Gase called a great game. And Kenyon Drake ran hard. And that Patriots defense isn't a great defense. It's just not. And this, what I'm talking about right here, is not Patriots haterade. This is the simple facts. The Patriots take advantage of inferior opponents better than anybody. But they're not impeccable. This is not a great Patriots team. And after the show rather, on after yesterday's show here in studio, we were talking off air about who was going to win the Super Bowl. And I said, I really don't believe the Patriots are that great. It's just that the AFC is very down. And I think that last night has to give you pause and ask, okay, we kind of figured the Pats were really great. But again, who did they beat to get to that record? Here are their wins this season: Bills, Dolphins, Raiders, Broncos. Stop me when we get to a winning team. Chargers, Falcons, Jets, Buccaneers, Texans, Saints. That's 10 wins. 7 of them came against sub-500 teams. And the Chargers are only now above 500. When the Patriots beat them, they were not. I just don't think this Patriots team is world beaters. They have stacked up wins against inferior foes. And I think last night it went to show you that they can be had and they're not this all-invincible team. Now, I don't know if the Steelers have what it takes next week to beat them, because I've got a feeling that Pittsburgh, with its flaws on defense, that Brady's going to have a much better game than he did yesterday. Much better. And frankly, the Steelers' pass rush is just not as good as the Dolphins. And I wonder about just being exhausted emotionally and physically from what they've gone through the last couple of weeks and winning games at the end of the game. But if you thought that the Patriots were going to just waltz through the playoffs and that they were this super great team that couldn't be beaten this year, I got news for you. They're not. They might still win it because they're really well coached and they've got a quarterback that's been there. And those guys, they know what it takes. But this is not a powerhouse team. If you listed the Patriots Super Bowl winners, 01, 03, 04, 14, and 16, if this team wins the Super Bowl, this would be the worst of those teams. This would be the worst of the 6 Super Bowl championship teams by the Patriots. By far. By far. They're worse than they were last year. They're worse than they were in 14. And those first 3 teams are better than all of the recent vintage ones.